Hip-hop now shapes nearly every aspect of America's popular culture, and it reflects the incredible diversity and ingenuity of the American people.
Yes.
It combines rhythms from the continent of Africa, from the Caribbean, from Latin America, with the sounds of soul and gospel and R&B and funk, to create something entirely new.
Yes.
And to be clear, hip-hop culture is America's culture. It is a genre. It is music and melody and rhyme.
Yes.
And hip-hop is also an ethos of strength and self-determination, of ambition and aspiration, of pride, power, and purpose. Hip-hop is a declaration of identity. It says, I love who I am. I represent where I come from. And I know where I'm going.
All right. Welcome once again to the beatzillapdx official show. And this is the midweek report news break. And so this is how we are rocking on this evening. As you are coming in, please hit the like and share this as well, family, on your social media. So hit that like button. Share this on your social media, even text this to someone who might need to see this, or email somebody who might need to see this. With that being said, happy to have you here for this midweek report. And we are talking about promoting false history. And there's been some false present day mischief that we also will address first. Because, you know, when we had the whole brick gate, we had a lot of people jumping out the window at black men, although black men had nothing to do with this. And as it's turning out that this story is becoming more of a lie now that the business owner has got a chance to review his own footage from his security cameras. There's no evidence of this woman being hit in the face with a brick. So it's starting to look like what people are saying, that she is using saline solution to swell her face up, and then come out and talk about, look at that, somebody hit me, and get a run up a GoFundMe. So people are starting to expose this woman. However, it did also expose another agenda of the gender warring nature. And so we saw a bunch of these people coming out talking about what we condone. Now, if you'll take a look on the screen, you see our friend, our septum ring friend is back. I guess she had a short hiatus, and her handlers told her that she needed to get back out there and just take it. So, she's back doing what she does. And if you look at her TikTok, boy, she is confused as all get out. So if anybody, like the fact that you are putting that out there, but that's what they do. They often choose the mentally unstable, but highly driven for attention. And they have a model of who they use. And so there you go. And you kind of have it twice over on your screen right there. And so not to mention this other woman over here about cis black women and whatnot. She's a Nigerian. So, and you'll hear her accent when she speaks. And as far as I can tell, there's probably only one foundational black American on your screen right now. And that would be our septum nose ring friend over here. Yeah, I think she's definitely one of ours in the cuckoo's nest, but one of ours nonetheless. So we're going to address that. And then we have to address Kamala Harris blatantly trying to rewrite history. And this is the thing that they are doing. They are promoting false history. So that's what we're talking about this evening. And I'm going to kind of take you on a journey through musical history on a little bit, because there's even some things to where you're hearing that hip hop was inspired by other acts like LGBTQ and blah, blah, blah. Because African Bambaataa and Grandmaster Flash, they were dressed like, and this is how Grandmaster Flash dressed. But they were not dressing like the Village People. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the best to ever do it. That is who they were imitating. And that is who you now see on your screen. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the elements of hip-hop as far as the music goes, because the music of hip-hop would not be able to function the way it has over the course of the years without this cast of characters on your screen, minus a few others, by the way. That's part of this band. This would be Parliament Funkadelic. That man over there in the left corner, his name, if you are saying you are a hip-hop historian, that guy right there is George Clinton. He had a partner by the name of Bootsy Collins, and they made a whole bunch of funk music that you will hear all throughout the years of hip-hop, which inspired Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Also, don't forget this man. So they just celebrated 50 years of hip-hop. And this man was not mentioned, nor this band mentioned. Kind of strange when you talk about the origins of hip-hop, when these are the origins of hip-hop that are literally spawned off of that man's music right there. This man and this band's music right here. And even this man here. And I'm sure some of y'all don't even know who he is, but we'll get there. So first off, let's deal with Brickgate. And there's been some TikToks that have been coming out because, the tides have turned when the truth really came out, and we found out what this woman was really about. And we are seeing that things are not as they were made out to be. So I will wonder how many of these misandrous women out here who couldn't wait to make this a situation about how black men don't protect black women. What will be their response to this? Will they just double down which I imagine they will, or will they say, hey, black men, we got it wrong? Never. So with that being said, when the black feminism game overshoots itself, see, there's nothing worse than a white supremacist, than a wannabe white supremacist. And black feminists seem to operate under the delusion that they are not chasing after white supremacy, while literally stating that black men are without any proof, because it's not our videos that are flooding the airwaves. It's theirs and their misandrous talking points. With that being said, let's check out a white woman bringing receipts.
Mad at me for this one. You guys remember this woman who was hit in the face with a brick? Even though it appears that she's having the same allergic reaction she was having in this video. I think this woman set this entire thing up as a hoax. In fact, actually, I know it was a hoax. Coincidentally, every few years she gets attacked in the face by a random stranger, fails to make a police report, but makes a GoFundMe and garners thousands of dollars. Here was her first one. And her second one in 2020, where she garnered $41,000. And here's the video she used to sucker people into that money.
You grew up and they mad because you trying to fucking beat somebody. They mad because you trying to beat somebody. I'm trying to be a doctor and they mad. Look what they did to me. Look what they did to me for no reason. They don't beat me up. I'm 30 years old, they gonna beat me up.
Interesting. So not once, not twice, but 3 times you got beat up by strangers, strange black men, didn't make a police report, but made a GoFundMe. And then conveniently, when the $41,000 is probably run out, now you're back at it again. Using black men as these monsters to your fucking scheme, and using a very serious issue that's not taken seriously enough, which is violence against women, as some sort of like leverage to your hoax. It's absolutely sickening and disgusting. And you guys can question me all you want, but the people who were there, including the club managers, okay, all attested to the fact that this never happened. This woman was never hit in the face with a brick. The club that she was standing outside of, they have security footage 24/7. They released a statement saying that there was no incident with her getting hit in the face with a brick. The 2 guys that she filmed accusing them of not doing anything, they didn't see anything. In fact, they've come out saying that they were confused because there were police parked at the gas station right across the street. So if this woman did get hit in the face with a brick, why weren't the police there? Seems like a pretty disgusting coincidence to me, and I'm not the only one questioning it. Along with the internet, articles are now coming out. And would you look at that? Apparently, she's been arrested for doing this type of shit before. What women like her are doing are just validating people who want to downplay the severity of violence against women. She's just feeding their bias, saying, look, it's not that serious of an issue. Women are lying. Now, in the future, if a woman really does get violently assaulted for not giving somebody her phone number and she goes to the internet for help, is the internet going to help her? Probably not. I'm going to do a full deep dive into this woman, and I'm going to put it up on my YouTube because people need to be aware of these scams. The police should be aware, and she should be held criminally accountable, like she has been before. And to this disgusting mother, why don't you get an actual job? Do something with your life other than this.
Don't you ever fuck with me ever again.
You walk around this world disrespecting men, hitting men, and then playing victim and painting them as perpetrators like you're just some fucking innocent woman who's getting smacked in the face by men who want your number? No, I think it's pretty clear to see actually nobody wants your number, and that's why you're pissed off. That's why you need to make up these false scenarios. That's why you need to put other women at risk for not being believed when they come forward. And you were willing to paint all of those black men as fucking cowards. Yep. And people like me fell for it. Shame on you. Shame on me. And you need to be investigated because what you're doing is fucking criminal. Yep. And people like me are making damn sure that you don't get away with it any longer. Stay tuned for a deep dive into this woman's grave because I'm about to lay her to rest. Thank you.
Okay. Did you notice what she just said? She just took accountability for falsely jumping on it. Now, I want to see these, like I said, there's nothing when white feminists, because she understands what she's part of and what privilege she has, she knows when it's time to reel it in. The wannabes are the ones that never know when it's time. They can't read the room and say it's time to turn it off. But I hope y'all see, when you hear from the especially you black feminists, your idols over there, they immediately took responsibility for falsely coming out blaming black men. All this anti-man thing. Because again, what ended up happening was a whole lot of black blanket man talk. Now, if y'all remember, there was a certain blonde woman by the name of Tommy Loren who made the fatal mistake of lumping all men into a talking point, and that did not do her well at all. And she's a blonde white woman who's actually had a decent plastic surgeon that kind of tailored up her face to look, I guess fairly young. But, none when you see people like a Tommy Loren, who they use as a talking a mouthpiece, let's just be clear. You probably see Candace Owens more than you see Tommy Loren at this point. So they don't even let them go off the rails like that. So I hope you understand, black feminists, when y'all start blanketing men, oh, well, it's men. Oh, yeah, white men don't go for that. So, just keep that in mind, black feminists. But with that, I want to go to this video on the left, and let's walk this down.
Online to support the abuse, specifically of that Black Somali woman who was hit in the face with the brick, is that she is being punished publicly as a warning to all gender oppressed people.
Now, this is a lesson in making up stories and scenarios and then adding on top of more lies. This is what this presents, because this woman that she's talking about, now they're proving, if it proves nothing, it proves that that woman was a criminal. She's already been arrested, already been investigated. And that's why TikTok banned her channel. This woman's having her GoFundMe is getting investigated. This was not a justification for her getting hit in the face, because number one, she didn't. Number two, where's the justification for blaming black men that had nothing to do with the lie that she made up? Where's the justification at making excuses to make videos like this, blaming black men for something that never happened? You never had any proof that it happened. And those of us were saying, where is the police report? Where is the police? Where's the video? Where's the security footage? Because it's only going to be a matter of time when the truth comes out. And then she goes silent. That's no one who has a story to tell. That is someone who had a hustle, who it worked before, but in this day and age, people are going to want to know names, locations. And she was so shocked that she couldn't figure out what kind of car this person got into? No. So again, nobody is making excuses for her being hit in the face with a brick. But what is happening is people are standing up for the truth and saying, well, this didn't happen. So now that this story you're making up, now you just look like a bigger, even messier liar. Both of you, by the way. But let's hear the teller.
The patriarchal men and their supporters who are coming online to say, oh, well, she's unprotectable, she was asking for it, her behavior is unruly, look at the type of skits that she puts up. They're not saying that because they don't understand the violence that was meted against her.
It wasn't any. And so they do understand. She's a scammer. She's a swindler. She's a messy, criminalistic scammer, traitor. What do you call him? Troublemaker. So what the dude said? Everybody in their community knows she's a troublemaker. Now, does troublemaker make a little more sense? She brings legal drama and problems to people's lives. She's not a good person. And when you do stuff like this, people will probably tend to end up doing something to you, because what you're doing is you're taking so many people out of their own way of being. And everybody is because you got like the black feminists came out half-cocked for no reason other than this woman's unfounded story. Did not wait to hear if it was true or not. And then people are putting up these other videos, and these people say, oh, you're using that for justification. Some of us were telling you, we're showing you this because we do not believe her. And so this is why people like this are like, oh, there's justification. And let's be clear. All that justification she talking about, that comes from her community. That comes from the immigrant class. They don't prefer how that woman conducts herself. And she knows that. This woman's Nigerian. They got forced circumcision over there. Boko Haram taking villages full of girls. But she coming over here talking about patriarchal misogyny and all of this madness. What? Go talk about your homeland. And not to mention, these people that you're referring to are literally from your homeland. Everybody's saying, I wish I could hit her with a brick. I'll hit her in the face with another brick. All of these people are African or Somalian, Eritrean. All of these people are from the motherland. They are not from this continent we call America. They are from the continent of Africa. So I don't understand. And then y'all threw Haiti under the bus for no reason. Where'd the Haitian man thing come in at? Just threw Haitian people under the bus for absolutely no reason. No, you keep your trash on your continent. This is all that's the African continent affair. So, ma'am, with your Nigerian self, and then this old bugged out septum ring. I mean, the fact that she put that in between her eyes is like, why would you want to draw attention to your crazy ass eyes? But nonetheless,
they're saying that because they want to signal to any gender oppressed people.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Gender oppressed people. Huh? There's only, I ain't gonna get into that. You could define genders as much as you want to. That's not a culture. It is a preference. There's a big, huge difference.
That want to operate outside of the scheme of patriarchy, that if you don't fall in line and something happens, not only will you not get community help, but you will also be humiliated ritualistically.
And none of that happened. Absolutely none of that happened. So you're trying to use an absolute fictional scenario and saying what black people are doing. Ma'am, all you are doing right now is completely lying. I'm sorry. I hope y'all understand the reason why I wanted to point this video out, because I want y'all to understand the truth is already out. Listen to how far this woman goes with this scenario. I mean, you already heard just a few seconds in. She is running off a cliff. And you just see this one over here. She's just like, yeah, because this is so important. No, it is not. However, it is a very educational tool to show you the level of lying propaganda that is coming out of these weird think tanks that are educating these weirdo youths and these tethers that are coming over here that they are trying to implement into the grassroots. Y'all better pay attention to these nuts.
Many people may think that, well, this is absurd and this is not effective, but it's actually very, very effective. This is the fundamental basis of why conservative women and other women ally with patriarchy.
No. There is no such thing as allying with patriarchy. There's something called a nuclear family. What this woman is literally talking about is, okay, you know how you have things that you want to break down to the bone structure of something? This is one of those. So remember when Black Lives Matter said that they wanted to get rid of the nuclear family in the Black community, of course. Well, this is the breakdown to, she's getting down to the nitty gritty of how you fundamentally do that. And so I would have to say, you're looking at a very, very much involved, or potentially allegedly involved shield. And I would say that these is one of those that, like, this type of talking comes out of multiple meetings of the same subject. You don't get here on a thought. That is not how these lines start coming up. This is something that is a design. They studying this.
There are social benefits for going along with the system and for allying with patriarchy.
You're not allying with patriarchy. A woman wants a husband. That's not allying with patriarchy. A woman wants a family. That's not allying with patriarchy. A woman wants children, and have children have a father. That's not patriarchy. That's just what she wants. So listen to how she's talking about gender oppressed people, but all of a sudden you're trying to say that these women are allying with patriarchy. But I thought you just said they were gender oppressed too. What took them out of being gender oppressed? And see, what she's really doing is identifying, choosing no covering, having no covering, and feeling entitled to someone else's covering. Are you hearing that? And so she's talking about conservative women. Oh, you mean white women, ma'am? Notice how she, see, a Black feminist knows her place. She did conservative. No, those are white women. It wasn't all conservative women that voted for Donald Trump. Let's remember that. Donald Trump got a lot of white women Democrat votes. Those are your allies. What you talking about? See how they like to play that game. Let's hear some more.
And one of those benefits is the ability to try to construct yourself as the perfect victim. Under the system of patriarchy, there are no perfect victims, but there are more perfect victims than other victims. And women that are conservative, women that stay in their place, women that are cis, women that are white, right? Like, if you don't have those structures in your benefit, then women that have values that align strongly with patriarchy get the most amount of protection, care.
Yes. But it's not aligning with patriarchy, because patriarchy is just a social construct that you have within your own mind. See, what you are failing to accept is the blatant reality. And this is the problem that this woman is having. She's having a really, really big problem dealing with a very clear reality. And so that's what we're getting right now. It's, you're aligning with patriarchy. No. Ma'am, families are not a new thing. Your thing is newer than families. That's one thing that you should always hold on to. Your thing is the new thing, not the natural thing. So let's keep it a buck. But you're hearing, listen to the way they talk, and they like using that weird energy tone, like they saying something that's deep. They are not. and they're saying something that's true and proven. It is not. And so this is how I got an aunt. I got a preacher aunt that lies exactly this way. And if you put this woman on the right tone with the look on the woman on the left's face, that's my aunt to a T. I don't know how her three members can stand it. Anyway.
And consideration. And the refusal to give care and consideration to this woman that is liberated, to this woman that is standing in solidarity with trans people publicly, is to signal to all other women who want to not stay in line that there will be consequences to pay. You have to understand.
Wait. Again, and here's my issue with them. Do y'all see what they keep trying to do? See, my thing about these liars is you already conceded that this woman was full of crap. That's why none of them are looking for an actual assailant. It's the fictitious black man, and all black men are just co-signing this. No. Tell me about where the dude is to hit it. I don't need to hear about how bad I am. Go get that person. I don't identify with a random person to whom no one knows. That makes no sense. So what they did, this is straw man feminism. Literally, straw man feminism. They made up an argument and then started arguing something that never existed. Man, men do this. And then it's a signal to women all over the place. It's only a signal and a blaring siren to anybody with half a brain. Avoid both of you.
Understand that colonized men, colonized cishet men of color who are cishet, desire most in this world, not liberation, but an exchange of positionality with.
See, she couldn't even bring herself to say black men. And now we want to exchange positionality with cishet white men. Where do you get these things from? This is an analysis based on nothing. It's definitely not based on interaction. I mean, the conversations that women have amongst themselves about men that they don't ever experience is amazing. Man, no man is beating down your door. I'll give it to you. You do have better skin than Tarana Burke. And that's where the compliments end. Anyway, we're going to continue.
White cishet men. And for all the conversations that we have about black women being race first or black women being, gender first, black cishet men are actually gender first.
Whoa, there's the lie. Now, why did she bring that up? Because we're talking about black first, black first, black first. So she's saying, oh, no, y'all women need to identify as a woman, and y'all need to identify as with your sexuality first. Because black men, they don't want to do that. Black men, now all of a sudden we're talking about black men are actually gender first. She did this long end around just to finally get back to where she really wanted to go. See, black men want all of this. My goodness.
Even though they pretend to be race first, they utilize fictive kinship as a way to consolidate power.
What in the hell are you talking about? Kinship to who? The white man? See, that's again where you go off the rails. No, we are the biggest targets of the white man, not the other way around. There is no we cannot be gender first. Who are we gender first with? Who? What other group is dealing with black men to where we can be gender first and there's some kind of allyship or kinship? Are you kidding? Boy, y'all will say any damn thing. just lie like it's no tomorrow. And it literally makes no sense to even make that lie up, but you're going to do it anyway.
Nothing is more evidence than their allegiance to patriarchy than the use of the skit as a way to justify her dehumanization and her assault.
So how does it work now that those skits were actually used to dispel her lie? So for those of us who called her a liar and a scammer, what about us? Because nobody over here justified it. All the justification is not black men. It is Somalian men. It is African men. It is your homeland men, Nigerian men. But it is not foundational black American men. Actually, overwhelmingly, there's been a ton of simps hopping in the comments talking about, oh man, that dude's a coward. They cowards. And again, I did also play that video for the simple fact of showing you the difference between them and us. Because yeah, they're not getting involved. So, again, when you're saying, well, you're going to align with your protection, man, you don't have any right to any other woman's husband. That woman in that marriage has first dibs on protection. It is totally and solely that woman's affair. If she does not want her husband out here defending strange women. But we ain't going to talk about that, huh? Because how many of these women and how many of y'all would say, yeah, oh, y'all could borrow my husband to go risk his life for your stupid self? And then I see all this other ridiculous, reckless stuff that you're doing, but that's no justification. Let me send my husband on out there. So maybe he don't come home. For her foolishness, are you out of your mind? And that's why you sitting there with nobody putting a ring on it. And then you had to figure out you wanted to be over in a whole nother sexual class just to still be single.
So those of you who haven't seen this, she has a skit where she slaps a white man and then she walks away and then she starts twerking. And patriarchs have unironically been using this video as justification of her abuse.
Patriarch would have to be an act. That's an action, ma'am. There, you can't call. You mean men? Patriarchs. Oh, heterosexual men. That's not patriarchy. That is so stupid to even suggest that it's patriarchy just because you're a heterosexual male. That is ridiculous. How shallow, closed-minded, and broad sweeping if a statement is that?
Which is interesting because just last month we were all celebrating this sort of like black uprising with the
foundational black American family. We still solid on Alabama, baby. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. See, here's where you tethers be getting yourselves confused. You think that you are intertwined with us like that at your convenience. No, this door has been closed for a minute. Sorry, you just now waking up to the truth. No, we still good with that. That's still the family over here. This situation has nothing to do with us at all. And what we wanted to do with this situation was to stay away from your business completely because it has nothing to do with us.
Folded chairs against white supremacy. And in the context of the folded chair saga, most of us implicitly sided with blackness. People who have...
You didn't. You're a Nigerian. So you didn't side with blackness. And talking about everybody just pretty much... Well, that's what you tethers do. That's the whole reason why we call you tether. Because you over here talking about... That is slave ancestral situations, spiritual situations here. Family situations. You ain't got nothing on that. There is nothing about your history that has anything to do with that. Well, we were all coming together. Let's stop with the we. You just went along with it because that's what was popular at the moment. And then as soon as you found another way to start throwing black men under the bus, you jumped out the window doing it when there was no black men even present. All a bunch of immigrants, all a bunch of Africans, and you over here talking about, because that's what struck me strange when they were saying it was a Haitian. I was like, a Haitian was at a Somalian event? I don't think so, but whatever. I'll let that fly if that's the truth. It doesn't really sound logical to me, but all right, we'll roll with it. And I mean, hell, people did.
Positive feelings about, Black liberation also sided with the Black people in that video. Yet in this skit,
what did that line even mean?
The patriarchs and their supporters are seeing imagery of a Black woman slapping a white man. And they're not identifying or siding with the Black person in the video. They're siding with the white person in the video.
No, ma'am. See, here's the one thing. People, I got a real big problem with people who do this. You think you could go out there and go do some goofy shit and then be like, why ain't y'all backing me? Because I'm Black. We ain't down with that mess you doing. That's corny and goofy. And it's reckless as hell. What are you doing that for? And they're going to say, well, they're siding with, nobody's siding with the white man that got slapped in this video. We're wondering, why is she making such a asinine spectacle of herself? Damn what the white man going through. What is she doing? So you're twisting it around. And this is my other thing about these people. They give these soliloquies and they'll never take you to the stage. I've had plenty of open spaces where I offer y'all folks to come up and give your take, and that don't happen. So and we've had call-ins here, so let's not do that.
Because he's a man, which illustrates perfectly what the issue is. She's being humiliated for acting outside of the confines of patriarchy. She's being publicly punished and humiliated as a signal to other women that are thinking or considering acting outside of the confines of patriarchy. And patriarchs identify and desire white supremacy. They just don't like that they're not the primary beneficiaries of it. They want to be at the top rather than wanting to be free. There's so many people.
I want y'all to pay attention to that. And look at where the sister, she all over there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to just play this last little bit because I want to just give you a visual. I'm going to turn the sound off. I just want you to understand what's going on right now. They're doing all of this talking about how Black men want to be, they want to reverse roles of the patriarchy of white supremacy. Notice how they are not talking about white supremacy being destroyed. I hope you understand that part. They always bring up white supremacy in relation to Black men. And Black men just want to be white supremacy. They're just upset that they don't have the position that the white man has, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. What are the 5 basic words? Those 5 basic words. I'm sure these women don't know. So, family, let's help them out.
To put it in the frame of reference, everyone, when they talk about racism and white supremacy, should always start by saying that the focus, the objective should be replace white supremacy with justice. Those are the 5 basic words.
So if you replace supremacy with justice, doesn't that eliminate the whole patriarchy conversation? So are they really concerned about patriarchy? Or are they only concerned about being against Black men? Because again, when you have people like this, especially the one on the right, are you kidding? Oh, and not to mention, so both of these people are at one point in time swirlers, especially the one on the left is an admitted swirler in her previous sexuality. I guess playing Dungeons and Dragons with the weirdos didn't last long. But, you know, now she's over there figuring out what she wants to be. She's not here nor there. She's everywhere. Oh, Lord. Yeah, she ain't here, she there, she everywhere. So, Lord. But moving along, family, moving along. And so, moving on to, not family, get that on the screen. Moving on to again, continuing with the theme, promoting false history. Hooey. So y'all know that hip hop has turned 50. And we've had, a lot of people trying to come out rewriting the hip hop history, trying to get around the fact that people like James Brown, a foundational Black American, pioneer of soul and funk music, another funk pioneer and continuation of the funk and soul, George Clinton and the Parliaments, Funkadelics. But even going back into foundational Black American history, you have Thomas Dorsey. There's him with Mahalia Jackson. This is who is known as the father of gospel. There's a reason why we're talking about the gospel, because, see, in this rewriting of the hip hop history, the gospel element is widely unknown by outsiders because they don't understand. That is the proof right there that they were left out of the foundation and the creation of hip hop, because they don't even understand the what makes the very beginning of hip hop. You had Muslims, you had the church crowd, you had the 5%ers, you had a lot of different elements going on at one time, all in the same vicinities. And then you have all of these folks from the South moving north. All of this is like post-slavery. This absolutely would have no African influence. It wouldn't have a Latin influence, and it most definitely would not have a Caribbean influence. Now, I'm going to get into just some conversation about like my own experience in gospel music, because this is very interesting that she brought this up, and I'm glad she did. But let me see. Do I got these other things in here for you? Wait. That's not what I want to show you. So actually, let me do this. I'm going to play the little clip that I played at the beginning first. And I just want to walk through this real quick.
Now shapes nearly every aspect of America's popular culture. And it reflects...
No, that statement in itself is incorrect. No, foundational Black American culture shapes everything. Hip hop is not some inanimate object. It's a creation of a culture. So the Black culture creates everything because Black culture created hip hop. You see what I'm saying? So look at how she immediately starts out with switching the narrative in her speech. Hip hop now shapes nearly every aspect. No, Black culture now shapes nearly every aspect.
Hip hop now shapes nearly every aspect of America's popular culture.
Black culture. Meaning, y'all, who remember seeing CB4? What was the whole issue with CB4? They didn't want CB4 taken off because little white kids was liking CB4 and trying to emulate Black people. That's literally what the premise of the movie is about.
And it reflects the incredible diversity and ingenuity of the American people.
No, it does not. Diversity. How would a Black, see, again, what she's doing, that's why she went away. Hip hop shapes, no. This is a Black cultural thing. And so she's trying to spin it and make it what it's not. This is a black cultural thing, not something else. And nonetheless, this is what she's doing.
Yes. It combines rhythms from the continent of Africa.
No, it does not. No, it does not. What rhythm from the continent of Africa do you hear in hip hop? Or that tether popping music that they be listening over in Ethiopia. Where's that in hip hop? Because truth be told, if it was so influential in hip hop, wouldn't their artists be part of it like that in the creation? But they're not. You have a lot of participants of a music and art form that was already created before they showed up. You're talking about some of these people weren't even in this country. So, I mean, it's amazing how this could be. And as a musician, I can tell you firmly, this all is a lie. But let's hear some more of the tether lion here, coming from your tether vice president, Kamala Tether Harris.
From the Caribbean, from Latin America.
Where in the hell would you get that from? The African rhythms, the Caribbean, and Latin America. How?
With the sounds of soul and gospel and art.
None of those with the sounds of soul, gospel, and R&B and funk. None of those come from the Caribbean, Africa, or Latin America. None of those things. Family, do you see Latin America on the screen? Where do you see Latinos? Here's the funk right here. Where they at? This is literally the funk right here. If you want that, then okay. Well, this fella right here that y'all might know is the hardest working man in show business. Mr. Dynamite himself. Papa's got a brand new bag. James Brown. James Brown. James Brown. Y'all don't get out of here. Show people how to perform. Little Richard. All of these other people out here. Like, are y'all kidding? Y'all have got things so twisted. So, like she said, she brought up gospel. But let's look at what this says here, since she's bringing up gospel. This is a placard for Thomas Dorsey. Go figure. Let's see what this got to say. Now, he died in 1993, by the way. So if people don't know, actually it's on the stone. But it says, Thomas A. Dorsey, father of gospel. Father of gospel. That does not leave room for the Caribbean. That does not leave room for Latin America. And that most definitely does not leave room for Africa. Now, composer of over 400 blues and gospel songs, lived here following his birth in Villa Rica on July 1st, 1899. At Mount Prospect Baptist Church, he was exposed to shape note singing and at home learned to play and use pump organ. Experiences, he said, sprang his career. The young blues pianist moved to Chicago in 1919 in the Great Migration, to which, of course, we do know that there were no African immigrants like that, no Caribbean immigrants like that, except for those who might have been left over from the French. And there were definitely, and the ones who were left over from the French were already living in the continent, in America anyway. But, and then Latin America, absolutely no bueno. Dorsey wrote the world's most popular gospel blues songs after his wife and newborn son died unexpectedly on August 26th and 27th, 1932. Wow. That song, Take My Hand and Precious Lord, or Take My Hand, Precious Lord, has been translated into 32 languages. Aretha Franklin recorded Take My Hand, Precious Lord in 1956, the same year that Tennessee Governor Frank Clement recited it during his keynote address at the Democratic National Convention. It became the anthem of Fannie Lou Hamer's Mississippi Summer. Wow. Okay, well, yeah, see? Okay, let me just take a little quick break right there. Because Kamala Harris often likes to do this. We were part of the struggle and we were part of the movement and my parents were activists and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, and what I'm telling you, I need you to understand gospel. And if y'all have been in our spaces with us and like Brother Dwan B and others, we have consistently told you gospel music is the foundation of funk, and funk is basically the father of hip hop. Here is the father of gospel. So understand, and not to mention, did you see what is on the two different genres that he is representing? Blues and gospel. She just tried to say rhythm and blues came from there. No, ma'am. He was in a Black Baptist church where he was exposed to shape note singing. They don't do that over there, ma'am. They definitely don't do. Are we really going to play with the best singers on the planet? Are we really going to do that? Y'all understand? Shape note singing is absolutely birthed in foundational Black American culture because none of these people nowhere else can sing like us. Y'all ain't going to be able to do the runs and all the movements and all the falsetto full voice stuff. Y'all will never be able to catch that because it comes from the experience. That's why so many people want to fake the funk. So they're using hip hop because hip hop is easiest as it on the surface to kind of rewrite the history of it. But no. You ain't going to gentrify this soul. That ain't going to happen. So again, let's go on. Let's see, after the summer, Dorsey's friend, Mahalia Jackson, sang it at Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral. Elvis Presley's recording of Dorsey's second most popular gospel song, Peace in the Valley, sold millions of copies. For a while, any new gospel blues song, regardless of who wrote it, was called a Dorsey until Dorsey himself coined the name gospel. Did you hear that? Until Dorsey himself coined the name gospel. That's the name of the sound. Dorsey died in Chicago on January 23rd, 1993. And let me tell you, it was a star-studded event. I believe Aretha Franklin sang at his funeral as well. And because around that time, because he actually outlasted people he inspired. James Cleveland went before him. I mean, for those of you who are aware of all of these other gospel artists out here, like all of these folks come from around this wave, and that's where got the gospel caravans, and this man is literally, that's why he's known as the father of gospel. And this is 1993. Do you understand hip hop was well and alive at the time? Going strong at the time. Matter of fact, 1993, I believe Fat Joe was making his debut. And now Fat Joe starts rewriting history along with Kamala Harris. Right? Because that's how they do it. But I just had to go show you right quick. This is the father of gospel. gospel itself. He coined it. Not to be taken away and given to a tether. But no. He himself did, ma'am. So let's hear more of this lion.
R&B and funk. Come on now. To create something entirely new. Yes. And to be clear, hip-hop culture is America's culture. Now.
Let me just go back. Listen to these Negroes in the back. Just co-sign this lion. Listen to these Negroes. And they're acting like they in church. With this, God, I can't stand our folks sometimes, family. They let people get away with this because they so happy to be in the room. But this is BS.
Of the American people.
Yes.
It combines rhythms from the continent of Africa, from the Caribbean, from Latin America, with the sounds of soul and gospel and R&B and funk. Come on now. To create something entirely new. Yes. And to be clear, hip-hop culture is America's culture.
Who? Hip-hop culture is black culture. You remember there used to be wasn't there a something like that on BET years ago? Like black is the culture or hip hop, because they've been trying to change that. It was black women were the culture or whatnot. But if I remember correctly, there was a slogan at one time on BET, back when it was still black owned, about black music being the culture. Listen to this. Hip hop is American culture. Hip hop itself is a creation of black culture. It's a combination of our history and our present and our future. That literally involves no one else. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Let them tell it. Say it loud. I'm American and I'm proud. Damn these black folks that created this genre. We need to give credit to other people, but so other people can look at other people like they should be looking at us. This is a absolute farce. And remember, just notice all the people who were there at this particular event. All of these people who have been contributing over the past few months to these lies that Latinos had something to do with the creation of hip hop. And now she just got up there and gave a really bad lie.
It is a genre. It is music and melody and rhyme. Yes. And hip hop is also an ethos. Come on now. Of strength and self-determination. Of ambition and aspiration.
Of resistance. Hip hop is birthed out of resistance. And hip hop did not start when you say it did. That's when y'all want to recognize it. But no. You can't get how and what. I'm just thinking back about what she said. How do you get R&B and soul and gospel and then mix that with Caribbean, Latin, and African? Where in any section or genre of music is that done? I would love to know. What music form is that called, ma'am? Because that ain't what hip hop is. That is absolutely not what hip hop is. So where do you get this from?
Yes. Of pride, power, and purpose. Hip hop is a declaration of identity. Yes.
To which you just stripped. Now, see, this is where you start getting into insults. And this is how, don't let nobody tell you that this is not an insult. This is absolute an insult. She knows what she's doing. She is not giving, she's in front of all of these black creators and did not shine a light on their blackness or their greatness for stemming from slavery because, again, they don't want you to shine in that light. So that's why they got her up here doing this. Notice what they're trying to remove. And so that what they're trying to do is make a, since when has a music form became a culture that shapes America? You can't even say country music does that. Because they had their culture way before they had the music. So let's be clear. And they aren't the authors of country music either. So, I mean, how about, I mean, you could have threw that in there too, ma'am. Blues and rock and punk for that matter. Oh, and grunge too. Yeah, Black Americans started all of those genres. Jazz, you didn't mention jazz. I'm cool like this. I'm cool like that. And then you boast and brag of the Tribe Called Quest. Do you know how many jazz records are sampled on Tribe Called Quest records? Like, this woman don't know what the hell she's talking about, and she's a stone cold liar. To get her even trying to step out here talking about music goes to show, like, oh no, this woman is not cool at all, and anyone trying to promote this around black folks needs to be excommunicated ASAP. Because you don't get the chance to rewrite our history. I'm a whole musician in the industry. What are you talking about? About all of these things are coming? No, they're not. They've never been, and they've always been very separate. I can go to the NAMM show, and I tell you very little influence from any African group is there. You got to be kidding. They might be there selling a new instrument they're trying to get on the market. But as far as like the people who people want to see, that ain't them. That is not them. They don't have a booth at the rolling spot. Yamaha ain't endorsing them. They're not over there with DW or PV or even Gibson, you know, some random drum maker. No, they're not. LP. Let me tell you, you know who was playing in the LP booth when I was there? Sheila E. and her family. That's as Latin as it got. Sheila E., yeah, you know, and it was very interesting about that. Sheila E. actually looked younger in person than she do on TV. But, man, allowing this woman to just sit up, yeah, that's right. Yeah, You got your whole amen corner over here just co-signing these lies. This is a travesty, family. And y'all black folks out there ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
It says, I love who I am. I represent where I come from. Come on now.
Come on now. I represent where I come from. And ma'am, you ain't said nothing about black folks yet. Hip hop, I come from hip hop. The culture I come from is hip hop. Are you out of your mind?
And I know where I'm going.
Oh, Lord. And I know where I'm going. Family, no. Absolutely not. And this absolutely is their agenda. Absolutely their agenda. And even more so about their agenda. Do I got this in here? Yeah, I do. Hold on. Oh, who remembers this?
Dreamers. We remember that this country was built by dreamers.
Uh-oh.
For dreamers.
Uh-oh.
Chasing the American dream.
Who remembers that lie? Anybody remember that lie right there? Oh, Camila Cabello, They let her get on up there, and so I'll play it again for you. This is what she said.
Tonight, in this room full of music's dreamers, we remember that this country was built by dreamers, for dreamers, chasing the American dream.
No, ma'am. This country was built by slaves in absolute torment, constant fear and oppression, brutal chattel slavery. And they were not thinking about the American dream because the country known as America did not yet exist. But they were building it for the colonies, which at first would be the Queen's colonies. So let's really truthfully examine that part. You understand what I'm saying? So you guys like to get out here and start doing this blatant line on our existence. And a lot of people have just let things like this slide. You let Camila Cabello come around, and I don't understand it myself. I do not know. No, this country wasn't. And you're in a room full of creators, not dreamers. People who create music don't dream it. We make it. It's not a dream there. It's an action. I can get on stage and go create. I don't know how many of you actually truly do create, because, you know, the industry likes to just put people up that will get up and say stupid shit like this.
I'm here on this stage tonight because, just like the dreamers, my parents brought me to this country with nothing in their pockets but hope.
And then they got a bunch of free handouts, because you don't come and build something with nothing. Nothing free, nothing needs nothing. You got to have something if you want to be with me. So you brought your ass over here for something, because it was something that they gave your ass for free. Don't come over here. They always talk about like they ain't the first ones in the welfare line. You came over here for free American taxpayer handouts. And then they'll turn around and be like, all these blacks need to stop complaining. All that welfare and blah, blah, blah. And you have all of these illegal immigrants coming on over here by the dozens. And then you're a dreamer. So that means that you were first illegal. That's no benefit to us. And then to get up here and start talking like this, black family, if you keep fighting for your replacement, I don't know what you're going to do, because let's just remember, you know, you think I'm not talking the replacement theory. No. But Joe Biden is.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
They showed me what it means to work twice as hard and never give up.
So, see, here's the work hard line. They showed me to work twice as hard and never give up. I know they showed you how to get over. There's a difference, man.
And honestly, no part of my journey is any different from theirs. I'm a proud Cuban-Mexican immigrant born in Eastern Havana, standing in front of you on the Grammy stage in New York City.
Because of an agenda. Because I don't know why you would be actually standing on a Grammy stage, because you suck. And nobody's checking for no Camila Cabello. This is all game. That's why I guess they needed a Fat Joe to get a little more kind of cred. But it's like, that's only going to go so far. And so now you got Kamala Harris along with Fat Joe and all of these other tethers. The only person, because I don't know about Tamika Mallory. Tamika Mallory probably is foundational Black American, but she's completely lost in the sauce herself. From my perspective, that is. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, they had to get somebody with more credibility because Pitbull wasn't going to work. So let's get Fat Joe.
Thank you. And all I know is just like dreams, these kids can't be forgotten and are worth fighting for.
Say what now? Now, in the meantime, let me show you some pictures. I just want to show you some of the things that old Vice President Harris has posted up. Now, she got up there and didn't mention anything about black folks and black culture and the black struggle and the black resilience of 50 years of an art form created by black folks. No, she tried to purposely remove black people away from the art form that black folks in America have created. And then she promptly went out and posted this after the weekend to say, hey, black folks, I'm thinking about you. Here's a tweet that she made. Our expanded child tax credit helped cut child poverty by nearly half, but congressional Republicans allowed it to expire. POTUS and I will continue fighting for America's families because every child deserves the opportunity to thrive. Now, we're going to act like the optics is not deliberate. You went and found the darkest skinned little girl you could find, didn't you, Kamala? Come on over here, take this picture with me, little girl. How you doing? Boy, we gonna do some things. We gonna get voted back in with this picture right here because I cares about black folk. My goodness. Kamala Harris is absolutely shameless. I don't know what y'all talking about. Oh, is it? No, this is not. If this is what you are calling respectable, this is what you call a slap in the face. Now, she went over there and had a whole big old to-do at her house, hosting 50 years of hip-hop. And a couple days later, this is what she posts. So you can't mention black people's contributions for actually creating an art form in America that has transcended all over the world. That came from us. No. And we'll turn right back around and start mentioning poverty when it comes down to black folks. Black folks are impoverished. Naturally, I guess. Is that the case? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my Lord. Telling you. But it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there, family. There is more. Let me get this one here. All right. Do not fall for the false choice. We can be in favor of the Second Amendment and pass common sense gun safety laws that save lives. Now, here is her quote, though, because see, this is the caption to her quote. The quote says, Black Americans are 10 times more likely to be victims of gun homicides. Latino Americans twice as likely. As likely as who? 10 times more likely to be a victim? How? And see, it seems to me like, man, finance is a good, strong way of changing those situations because you just spoke about poverty and opportunity. So let's fix them finances up. These are not just statistics. They are the lives of our children, loved ones, parents, siblings, and our fellow Americans. the only time that she could muster up the words black Americans, is by using Black Americans as a tool to push their gun amendment rights. And if y'all didn't know, this nutty woman out here in New Mexico tried to call martial law or a state of emergency, suspending the Constitution. And the police chief there was like, I am not co-signing that. So her martial law, in turn, did not hold any weight, and so therefore was not enforced. But it does say something about what's on these Democrats' minds. So pay attention to that. And here we go. Here's the last tweet I got from her. Hip hop is a celebration of Black joy, freedom, and liberation. It was my honor to commemorate the 50th anniversary of this ultimate American art form by hosting the first ever hip hop event at the Vice President's residence. Whew. Of Black joy. No, man. Joy wouldn't be the first thing that comes out of my mind when I'm thinking of hip hop. Nah, joy ain't really the first thing that comes to mind, man. And then, you know, when they was, oh, the LGBTQ has something to do with it too, right? You know, they was in there too, right? No, they were not. And so I wanted to touch on that. Now I got, y'all already know how I feel about Kamala Harris and the Joe Biden regime. I just don't understand how anybody could find any value in what they're doing. They literally came out and tried to rewrite our history real time. And on top of that, you're trying to say that these people have something to do with our art form, and they don't. Here is the history of our art form in just a few people. I mean, come on. We and then you can fast forward it. This is what transpires later down the road. But yeah, let's look at how it started. That's what people tend to, I don't know, forget. But there's a video that y'all might have seen. I put it up on my page earlier this week on this YouTube channel. And I just want to go through this real quick because I don't know if anybody actually noticed when you were watching this video, but I actually have Bayard Rustin's actual words on the screen. So while this woman is lying on Martin Luther King, I actually have Bayard Rustin's words on the screen. So I just want to play a little bit of that before we get up out of here.
Queerness. Did you know that? Did you know that Malcolm X has a...
And Dr. King is homophobic? Wait, let's run that back. So in the video, she talks about how Malcolm X is queer. And it got me thinking to how people will compare Malcolm X and Dr. King when Dr. King is literally homophobic. It's apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. During the Civil Rights Movement, Bayard Rustin and Dr. King was hand in hand. They organized boycotts, protests, started organizations. Bayard even did the March on Washington, okay? And because of that success, Bayard said, let's include LGBTQ in the fight for equality. Dr. King cut off all communication and never did anything with the man again. And when asked, Dr. King said they had a difference of opinion. You cannot be pro-black and homophobic or transphobic or any of that shit because that means that you feel like only some people deserve equality. Fuck out of here.
All right. So in going on with the nuttiness, let's just read what Bayard Rustin had to say. It's on the screen. It is difficult for me to know what Dr. King felt about gayness, except to say that I'm sure he would have been sympathetic and would not have had a prejudicial view. Otherwise, he would not have hired me. He never felt it necessary to discuss that with me. He was under such extraordinary pressure about his own sex life. J. Edgar Hoover was spreading stories, and there were very real efforts to entrap him. Now, let's just be clear. When he says that, J. Edgar Hoover was spreading stories that he was getting from his informant, Bayard Rustin. But that's neither here nor there. But the affidavits are available, so let's not act like they're not there, because the Freedom of Information Act showed you that Bayard Rustin was not just an FBI informant, but also a CIA asset. So these stories that J. Edgar Hoover was getting was coming directly from Bayard Rustin. That's why he said spreading stories. He didn't say spreading lies. And then talking about there were very real efforts to entrap him. Of course, that man would know. Being the point man on some of that probably entrapment, I would say, allegedly. I think at a given point, he had to reach a decision. My being gay was not a problem for Dr. King, but a problem for the movement. Dr. King was homophobic. He finally came to the decision that he needed to talk with some people in his organization. Reverend Thomas Kilgore, a good friend of mine and pastor of Friendship Baptist Church, was a man Dr. King turned to. Reverend Kilgore asked Martin to set up a committee to advise him. The committee finally came to the decision that my sex life was a burden to Dr. King. I think it was around July when they advised him that he should ask me to leave. Now, what she just said about Dr. King, she said that he said, yo, let's interject this LGBTQ stuff off of into this movement. And then he just cut off all communication. This is the words of Bayard Rustin on your screen. Not some bugged out feministic rant. This is literally the truth. And it's not hard to find. Like, Bayard Rustin did plenty of interviews, and the Freedom of Information Act, you know that he was a op. So all of these different things, and you know that he is responsible for how civil rights took such a LGBTQ heavy turn once Dr. King was eliminated. So, and now what has civil rights become? Civil rights has become a democratic vehicle with no black leadership. It's not based in the church anymore. It's based in Washington, D.C., in the White House. Big difference. See how that works? Let's see. I told Dr. King that if advisors close to him felt I was a burden, then rather to put him in a position that he had to say leave, I would go. He was just so harassed that I felt it was my obligation to relieve him of as much of that as I could. Someone sent his wife a tape in which he was supposedly having an affair with another woman. See, this is the type of things that he was going through. And it wasn't just Dr. King. It was about him and his sexuality being a detriment to the movement, because sexuality is a detriment to any movement of empowerment. And this is what these individuals don't understand, or maybe they do and just purposely want to be disruptive. In any event, we must resist and fight against all of those type of lies, stories, falsehoods, and fictions. Because when people come around you doing that, there's you know, there's no stopping. There's just no stopping. Let me see. There's a little more to this that I actually have, because I actually have this up. Let's see. There was also another problem in the Democratic. Wait, hold on. Let me do this. Let me move this over here. This way. All right. Just make that bigger there. Okay. So there was another problem. Some of the people in the Democratic Party were distressed at Dr. King's marching, as he did in 1960 and in 1964 against the conventions, both the major parties, calling for more immediate relief to Black people through Congress. Adam Clayton Powell, for some reason I will never understand, actually called Dr. King when he was in Brazil and indicated that he was aware of some relationship between me and Dr. King, which of course there was not. This added to his anxiety about additional discussions of sex. Now, let me go back to that first line. The Democratic Party were distressed at Dr. King's marching. This is the one thing that they champion like no other right now, do they not? Oh, yeah, we stood and we marched and we marched and we stood and we stood and marched for justice and we marched and marched some more. And the Democratic Party was right there with Dr. King, marching and marching and marching. Out of Bayard Rustin's own mouth, the Democratic Party were distressed at Dr. King's marching. So they wasn't feeling the march. And why weren't they feeling the march? Because he was calling for the immediate relief to Black people through Congress. So, the Democratic Party didn't like the idea of reparations. Let's continue. I don't want you to think that Dr. King was the only civil rights leader who raised these questions. Although Dr. King had been relieved by my officially leaving, he continued to call me, as Mr. Garrow makes clear in his books, Bearing the Cross, over and over. Now, didn't that female just say that he had cut off all contact? Well, we are now finding out that's not true. Now, this all took place around 1960, but in 1963, when the question came up whether I should be the director of the March on Washington, I got 100% cooperation. On this occasion, it was Roy Wilkins who raised the question. Roy was my friend. He told me he was going into the meeting to object. He made it quite clear that he had absolutely no prejudice towards me or towards homosexuality. But he said, quote, I put the movement first above all things, and I believe it is my moral obligation to go into this meeting and say that with all of your talent, I don't think you should lead this important march. They are not only going to raise the question of homosexuality, although I know you are a Quaker and I know you are paid, that you paid a heavy price for your conscientious objection, they are going to call you a draft dodger. He was referring to my 3 years in prison at a conscientious objector in 1943, 44, and 45. But Mr. Wilkins also said you were once and you've never said that you weren't a member of the Young Communist League. Oh, now see, we didn't hear none of that part from that young lady now, did we? So this Bayard Rustin was was also being accused of being a communist and being and you know, back then they was really doing black folks that were had communist ties, or they were trying to put communist ties on you, like they were trying to do with Dr. King, by that one woman she was down with them folks for 9 years as an informant. 9 years. But so Bayard Rustin would be considered a draft dodger. So, and again, family, this asking for immediate help for financial help and relief for black folks, that was the problem. And so making sure that you didn't bring sexuality into the agenda of empowerment was very important to what they did then. Are you seeing how they're trying to rewrite that history and act like sexuality is involved with empowerment? And no, their success came by not involving that. Like James Baldwin says, therefore, they are going to raise 3 questions: the question of homosexuality, the question of draft dodges, and the question of your being a communist. The fact that you are a socialist is a problem because people in the United States don't differentiate between socialism and communism. We also had a long discussion about how the communists had co-opted the term socialist, although the two systems are totally different. One is democratic and the other one is totalitarian. Well, you see that they're already using these switching of terms like woke right now. They're doing the exact same thing now. It continues on this last paragraph. Mr. Randolph, who was the president of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters and the president of A. Philip Randolph Institute, took the view that it was important for him to have me. Mr. Randolph was finally made director of the march, but I want to warn you before you vote that if I'm made leader, I'm going to be given the privilege of determining my staff, he said. I also want you to know I'll make Bayard Rustin my deputy. He turned to Martin and said, Dr. King, how do you vote? And Dr. King said, I vote yes. But Dr. King is homophobic. Loud and wrong foolishness. Goes on. He turned to Jim Farmer. Jim Farmer said, I vote yes. Then he turned to Roy Wilkins. Roy said, Phil, you've got me over a barrel. I'll go along with you. So it was never a prejudicial situation. It was never a presidential situation. It was never a presidential situation. A prejudicial, yeah. I mean, because there was no prejudice there. It was just them understanding the importance of attacking a movement and keeping things simple, focused, and on target. Not spreading it, and we got to worry about this group, that group, this group. No. One group. And notice how you're not hearing about Latinos, and you're not hearing about the Jews, and you're not hearing about all of these other groups, and the Asians. You're not hearing about this. Short-legged people. I mean, you're not hearing anything. This is about black folk. Period. Let's see. Finish off. It was that, given the attitude at the time, people felt this was a problem. I think there were others who felt, how many problems can a guy have and expect to elevate him to the dictatorship of this march, or directorship of this march, rather. And this is from an interview conducted by Redvers Jean-Marie, March 1987. 1987. So there's that. So was Martin Luther King homophobic? Nope. And we just showed you that Bayard Rustin actually, the March on Washington was actually after Martin Luther King had to let Bayard Rustin go. But they still actually kept in contact. So the whole thing that he was homophobic and introducing this and that, no, not true. So don't let these folks start coming out lying on our history, lying on our icons, lying on civil rights, trying to make it what it's not, trying to totally erase the America's greatest sin. They say America's original sin, which is slavery. They're trying to erase that with a bunch of anti-black tethers and Latinos. And they're bringing these folks over to well, yeah, we were there too at the beginning. No, you weren't. There was nobody there. And now you are seeing why it was happening. Because here's the 50 years, and here they are jumping in here saying, yeah, we was there too at the creation. I mean, this is America's music. Why is this literally taking place by either the president or the vice president? This is the first ever. What does that say? There has never been an event like this. And so we're going to have a whole, basically, this is a fish fry, ladies and gentlemen. This is a glorified fish fry thrown by Kamala Harris. That's all this is. What is the difference of this and a Jim Clyburn fish fry? That is all this is. So they brought everybody out, got a bunch of photo ops to go out there and dance. And I've seen all the stars. I've seen, if you go to Johnny Nunez Instagram channel, you'll be able to see some video there, some background video of all the different celebrities and stars that were there. So they have called in all of their favors from their political operatives and all the people who will help their campaign, so they see. But this campaign it's more than a campaign. It's an agenda of erasing Black people out of history. They're trying to erase the historical placement of foundational Black Americans, which now is trying to tell you that a whole art form created from the struggle from slavery to now is somehow everybody's. No, it is not. And the only time she mentions Black folks in hip hop is Black joy. Not resistance, not empowerment, but joy. Dancing, singing, partying, twerking on tables. That's what they're pushing. So we have to push back. Because if we don't, boy, they'll just take one big old fat eraser and get rid of us and never forget what this dude is.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't Black.
And never forget who this Democratic Party is.
I'm not always going to only talk about what we can do for Black people. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
And for all of the people that still think they want to ride in the car with the Democrats, we're gonna get in this donkey and we're going to ride this donkey all the way to 2024. Well, this is how your ride and trip is going to be on this one. And for the lion Somalian and all of the man haters, be like your white women counterparts. Come out and apologize for getting it wrong. You did all of that, but let's see. Family, do you really think that these women on your screen are going to apologize?
No.
I would have to agree. So, but ladies, all the anti-black men videos.
Own your stuff, little girl. Own it.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to own that. Because at the end of the day,
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
so for everybody who was out there and you guys are co-signing the erasure of foundational Black American culture while being a foundational Black American, you get one of these.
Sambo, Sambo, Sambo.
And I'm sure that there's going to be some people coming out with their little spiels and, oh man, y'all ain't never happy. Black people did everything, huh? Yeah, but we're definitely not going to say somebody else created something that they didn't. You got Africans and Latinos and Caribbeans. You know good and damn well you ain't got no parts of our genre of music in the creation, especially no gospel and funk and R&B. That's a outright lie. But you gonna come along and be like, that's what she said. Y'all need to talk to the white women. Why you gotta talk to the white man? Because don't get mad at us. You're mad at the wrong people. We're just over here getting our hustle on.
Buck dancing, shuffling, scratching, bootlicking, bamboozling, Uncle Tom Negro.
And tether to. And so for all of those people who are still asleep on the Biden plantation, I have to side with Umar on this one.
And I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep for good.
And so understand what they're trying to do with this whole fiasco here. And they've been trying it for a long time, but understand what they were doing to Dr. King, they're trying to do to us now, because we are back to the point of the mission. And so it would make sense to why they got rid of Martin Luther King and why they also got rid of this brother.
I think you're right there. I would not limit our employment demands to Negroes. I would include Puerto Ricans and other minorities throughout our country, which have been similarly discriminated against, though not for so long a period of time as Negroes.
Puerto Ricans weren't enslaved. Yeah, this is a problem that stems from slavery. And this compensation, yes, sir, this compensation is coming to people who were enslaved by the white man for 400 years. The Puerto Ricans don't even fit into this picture.
Well, they do fit into it.
No,
they do fit into it.
The problem is the Negro problem. They're not lynching Puerto Ricans.
If a dark-skinned Puerto Rican went down to Mississippi, he probably would be lynched too.
Spanish, he wouldn't be lynched.
No, they don't.
It's the Negro here, and as long as he can speak Spanish or some other language, or if he ties his head up with a turban or something, he can go anywhere in Mississippi or in your home that he desires.
You're not aware of the fact, are you, that African students have been arrested in our demonstrations in the South?
When they
speak French.
When they have been mistaken for the so-called Negro in America, they've been arrested.
What I'm saying is...
Don't matter what you say in Puerto Rican, because at the end of the day, for foundational Black Americans, it is hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
That's why Babylon is falling. Babylon is falling. Let it fall and let us rise. And for those of you who think that we are overplaying it, we've shown you the historical context. We've shown you the historical lies. And we're not going to let people erase us off the history books, because that changes our future. See, as we are holding on and claiming our own selves and naming ourselves, identifying ourselves, we are taking a certain amount of power, and the control mechanism of oppression is filling it and sending all of these other folks out to start talking against us. Just remember what I said. You saw those women come out here and talk about how black men want to be part of white supremacy. No, little girls, all of this that you see out here was for justice and reparations. They don't like telling you that today. And guess what it wasn't about? It was not about sexuality, because sexuality has no business to do with a movement that addresses the ills of an entire community. It changes the conversation, it changes the tone, and it puts things in a manner to where the main reason for marching starts getting overlooked. The main reason that you were trying to get black folks some help, it was singular, family, not this thing, that thing, the other thing, and everything else but reparations thing. No, it was none of it. So let's just keep that on where it needs to be. Let's get back to the business of empowerment. And if you are uncertain once again at what the basic principle of this thing is, here it is.
Put it in the frame of reference. Everyone, when they talk about racism and white supremacy, should always start by saying that the focus, the objective should be replace white supremacy with justice. Those are the 5 basic words.
And so, if you are not interested in dismantling the system of white supremacy and replacing it with the system of justice, you are an agent of said white supremacy, not any talking points or anything you can figure out, unless you are setting out to dismantle the system of white supremacy. You are only aiding it. So for septum ring individuals, lying Democratic shill individuals, and every last one of you people who are paid out there or not paid to come undermine black empowerment. Well, a lot of us knew this was coming, and you guys are going way out of your way to lie. However, you have to do it anyway. And so if you think that you're going to be able to sway the grassroots off of course, well, I, beatzillapdx official, speaking for those here at the beatzillapdx official show and those of you in the chat, the grassroots and the new voices of black media. The voices of the new black media. I shall say, I think it's safe that I speak for all parties involved when I could say Kamala Harris and all of the pander crew that you have in these think tanks that thought that coming out there once again trying to rewrite our history was the thing to do. We proudly dedicate this song to you.
Get up off of that cocaine and get up off of that crack. Get yourself together and get your mind back.
That's right.
Yeah! They squabbling out there now. Yeah!
Oh, yes, indeed, families. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. You can email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And if you feel so inclined to put some money in the bucket, you would like to support this channel by way of donation, you can definitely do so at CashApp, $beatzillapdx. That is CashApp, $beatzillapdx. Also, we have PayPal, which is Zilla Muzak. That is ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. So with that being said, family, it has been a good one. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this broadcast and got some good information out. And understand, let's salute our icons. Let's salute Thomas A. Dorsey. Let's also salute Mahalia Jackson. Shout out to Uncle Yoki, George Clinton, and the P-Funk All-Stars. Rest in peace, Fuzzy. And our iconic foundation of the one and only, Mr. James Brown. Salute to all of these foundational Black American music genre creators who had no influence from the Latin America, Caribbean, or African continent. I mean, African continent. You tell somebody that was born in South Carolina something about the African continent, they're going to look at you like you crazy. They don't got nothing from no African continent down there. No, they got soul. So, yeah, let's get it right. So, like I said, tonight's show is about promoting false history. Don't promote false history. It'll drive you crazy. So with that being said, I will catch y'all on the weekly wrap-up, family. Stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all.
When you know who Satan is,
Yes, sir.
you don't have to kill him. No. The stone of truth.
Yeah.
See, that's what you throw.
Yes, sir. Right.
Allah says, had we wished to take a pastime from before, surely we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knock out its brains. Every one of you that knows the truth, stand up and tell it from the mountaintop. Black people can't take it no more. So wherever you are on the job, in the factory, I don't care where you are. If you know the truth, stand up on the truth and tell Satan, who the hell are you to try and pick my friends? Farrakhan is God's man, and you are from the enemy of God. So to hell with you. Stand up on it like a man.